You should be able to build like a super talented technical team. And for me, this is mandatory. If I was an investor, I will always check who is here behind the tech.
The following is a conversation with Maria Luke, a national level player turned founder who loves chasing goals. She is the co founder and CEO at Uelzpay. They help companies adapt pricing to any billing scenario in seconds. Hi, Maria. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining. It's good to have you today.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me.
I think Maria from Sharpay
Mhm.
introduced Maria from Uelzpay. Hope I pronounced that right.
It's all about Marias in Spain.
It looks like it. It was really great of her to connect, and it was lovely chatting with you the other day. One of the things that actually was very interesting was your background in sports. So you played all the way till
Mhm.
national football. How did you shift your career from sports? I mean, national level is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that that there are a lot of things in sports, especially
Mhm.
when you are playing a team sport,
Mhm.
which you can bring later to your company. So I think that the switch was very natural because I felt at some point that my career in sports was over. I wanted to do different things, enjoy my last university year, and that's why I decided let's quit because I've been playing in the national team, I've been playing in Europe, and everything is done here, and I need to jump and do another different thing to keep growing myself. So I decided to that it was the time to stop and change.
It's good to know when you need to move on from certain things. I think
Hmm.
it's also so important as a lesson in entrepreneurship. Sometimes people are at it,
Yeah.
at it and at it and at it, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And yeah, it's definitely a call to assess the situation and figure out, okay, it's time to now move on.
Yes, this is I think the most challenging because in my case, whenever I start something new, I started with a lot of, I don't know, I'm always excited. I have a specific goals, and once you are, I don't know, getting to the point that you feel that you have done everything in at some specific point,
Mhm.
if you can do this exercise of analysis and see maybe this is my end in this thing, it can help you to take the decision because I think that emotionally it is always very complex.
Yeah.
It is the day today that I sometimes dream that I play football again. So imagine, and it passed, I don't know, I think around 10 years. So yeah, I still dream about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to let go, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
So which position did you play?
I was the goalkeeper.
Oh wow. Nice. Nice. And so how did you
Yeah.
end up starting Wellspay?
Once I ended my university degree, I started working. At the beginning, I started especially in sales positions, but I've been always very ambitious. So I was working in a big corporation, but I was also doing things by myself.
Hmm.
So I I founded like a boutique gym chain in Madrid with some of my university friends. And there, when I was there, I realized that there was a big problem with the not healthcare services but wellness services because we were struggling in order to bring different professionals to our boutique gyms in order to treat, for example, in physiotherapy, to our patients. And I think that it was a lack of wellness providers, or I don't know, it was very difficult at some point in the city center of Madrid
Mhm.
to get your services when you needed this specific professional. So I started doing a little bit of research I built an MVP. It was a basic, very basic website with a call to action that it was telling the people, if you want to hire a physiotherapist now, like click here and do it.
Hmm.
And the first time that we launched it, I always talk about me and my co-founder because she was involved at that time.
Yep.
Um, the first weekend we got 4 bookings. So we realized that there was something there. And
Yep.
this was the way, a little bit playing, a little bit testing,
Hmm.
how we started with our previous company called Fix Me.
And this was back in
It was in 2018.
2018.
Yes, at the beginning of 2018. Yes.
So, and Fix Me evolved into Uelzpay.
We could we could say that the technical problems that we were facing in Fix Me
Hmm.
evolved in Uelzpay, but
Hmm.
both of the companies are different companies because we've been in Fix Me for 2.5 years.
Hmm.
And after COVID, we decided to stop with Fix Me because we were struggling a lot with our unit economics. Fix Me was a B2B on demand wellness marketplace
Hmm.
where we especially bring wellness therapists or physiotherapists to companies, to big corporations, to offices.
Hmm.
In terms of logistics, it was great because maybe it was 1 week, 100 physiotherapists to this specific place, and with the 100% of the time of physiotherapist covered. So the unit economics were very good,
Hmm.
and we could be maintaining the growth of the marketplace. But after COVID, when nobody was at the office, we couldn't bring to each person at home the physiotherapist because it was super
Yeah. What?
expensive. We couldn't secure the 100% of the availability of the physiotherapist. So everything changed,
Everything
and,
changed. Yeah.
and it was impossible to keep growing.
So, but before COVID, you're doing pretty well. 40 people you had.
Mhm.
What was the revenue like? What did you hit?
It
When?
was around 1 million.
Oh, wow.
We've been doing it for 2 years and a half. Not the first year. I mean, the first year it was maybe 200,000,
Hmm.
but the second year was around 1 million. And the point here was that we grew very, very fast in 4 different countries at the same time.
Hmm.
It was something very crazy because I wouldn't recommend that to nobody. It is very complex. In
Hmm.
our case, we've been lucky and we did it, but it was a huge effort, and it was expensive too. And it was very complex in operations. And here came the biggest complexity in our case was to charge our customers. It sounds stupid, but it was a challenge because we were operating in 4 countries with 4 different currencies, with 4 different payment providers, and different ways or cultures of paying.
Hmm.
So we try to charge in recurrent basis to our customers, depending on how many services they were consuming.
Hmm.
So this was very challenging to calculate it per a specific company and then to charge them in the way that they were used to pay.
Hmm.
It was super complex to us, and we struggled a lot,
Hmm.
and we did a big effort to build somehow a solution, an internal solution, to be able to put some standard business rules to the way that we were charging our customers. So I mean, it was crazy, crazy, crazy.
So now that pandemic is out, you wouldn't restart that business again.
I, I think that it was a great business,
Yeah.
but it was great because the B2B process. Otherwise, I think that it's very tough to grow
Hmm.
a marketplace where you are providing physical services because you need to acquire your offer and demand
Yeah.
uh, locally. So this is super expensive. And I mean, if you have any magic source that can help you to grow it efficiently, it is okay. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah. And so for these local geographies where you were growing this physical service, Did you have salespeople deployed locally? How were you growing the the
Hmm.
the supply and the demand, I guess?
Yeah, it was mainly we had salespeople, but we had salespeople to close contracts with corporations.
Hmm.
But once we were in the corporations, we tried to push it with internal marketing in each specific corporation,
Hmm.
because once you sell to the company, you have the contract, but then if you're not able to activate your service inside the company, this is nothing. So at the beginning, we did it, of course, with salespeople.
Hmm.
We did it also with referrals a lot.
Referrals.
And then we try to push internal marketing with sometimes with HR people in the inside the company. We try to push it. We normally did like a small conference to tell the company employees that we were there to provide those specific services and that they could book the services this way, or this way. Yeah, but we had a process to sell first and then to activate.
Interesting. And so the payment challenges that occurred there with all those four geographies, that was the genesis of your next venture with Uelzpay.
Yes, it was. And we started doing research in COVID
Hmm.
because in COVID, we couldn't provide our services. Of course, we were doing things online,
Yeah.
like everybody in the healthcare industry was doing services online, and we've been successful doing our services online. But we knew that it wasn't going to be a new product inside Fix Me, because everybody was doing the same and people was wanting to go out and do sports out and so on. So we did it for this specific moment, but we we didn't think at that time that it was something that we could be doing after COVID. So we started doing research about payments
Hmm.
with the hypothesis of we are not that stupid that we are not able to charge in the way that we need to charge our customers, right?
Yeah.
So let's see if other entrepreneurs are facing these challenges or not, or maybe we are stupid. So yeah, and we started talking with friends, basically because we have a big network of founder friends, and people was struggling a lot. Of course, there were some solutions in the market, but very local solutions, or solutions, or very specific solutions that were not very flexible to adapt to the new, or not the new, but to the multiple ways that companies have to charge customers. So
Hmm.
we built, as we did it before in Fix Me, we built an MVP. First, we were 40 people in the team.
Hmm.
We decreased the team. It was after COVID at the end of 2020. We decreased the team from 40 to 6
Wow.
because we didn't have money
Yep.
and nothing to maintain the people. So we decreased. We've been able to solve our operations. It was at the beginning of 2021. Our operations in Latin America, we solved. So it was great because we could focus very fast in the new venture. So we solved the operations, and we built an MVP. It was very basic MVP. We had, and it was private. We have at the beginning between 5, 7 founder friends using it,
Hmm.
and we saw that they were using it recurrently, and they told us that we saved their lives at some point. That
Oh, wow.
this is easy, it works,
Yep.
and we are charging our customers in the way that we need. So thank you.
Hmm.
And this way, at the end of 2021, we've been able to raise 1 million euros. And that was the point where we could rebrand,
Okay.
not rebrand, because at the end we were launching a new company,
Yeah.
but it is true that the legal entity was the same. Yeah.
So the six people that started the journey or the founding team sort of came from the old company, and then you kind of with the same team built this.
They were basically the technical people
Uh-huh.
coming from Fix Me. But in then after launching the MVP and when we raised 1 million in the next 3 months, we passed from 6 to 3 first, And then we grew the team to 8 people, but 8 new people. I
Yeah.
mean, me, my co-founder, and our product designer, we were still in the team,
Yeah.
and we hired new people because we realized that we needed people with payments expertise.
Makes sense.
Our challenge was big.
Mm-hmm.
We knew the problem that we faced,
Mm.
but in order to build the solution, we realized that we needed people that knew about regulation, that have before work with payment providers, and so on. So we decided to bring new people to the team, and yeah, and we did it. It was tough, very, very, very tough emotionally, but
Yeah.
those
And
are things like bad things that you need to do in order to keep going.
yeah, there is no easy wedge as a founder. You do have to
No,
jump through the hoops and
there
sometimes
isn't.
make some very,
You
very
have
hard
to
calls.
take those like hard decisions, but for me, if you're honest with the people and if you try
Yeah.
to help them to find, because at the end they were doing good what they were doing, but they were not experts in payment. So we help them to find new opportunities in friends companies and so on. So nowadays everybody is working, and they've been working very fast after that. So for me, to be honest with the people is necessary if you need to take these complex decisions.
Of course. So you ended up getting a few more people post fundraising that had the experience in payments. How
Mhm.
did you, at that point, as a fairly small team, able to attract people with experience in payments when you are a new company with probably little to no domain expertise in payments? How was that?
It was tough. The technical hiring market is very competitive.
Yep.
In our advantage, we know a lot of people from tech ecosystem. So we start talking with people, meeting for coffees,
Mm.
and this was the way that we've been able to first hire our two main or key employees.
Mm.
One is our CTO,
Mhm.
and the other one is the head of product.
Mm.
We've been very lucky because they are very experienced people. Both have worked before in payments, in banks, in fintechs. So we've been very lucky. They liked the challenge. It was a great moment for them to change because both of them were finding new opportunities and new challenges, and we matched a lot with their personalities too. And this was the way that we got the first two key employees, and then because of they were inside the company, they helped us a lot to hire the next ones.
Next.
one Once you have a great ambassador inside your company, it is easier to bring talented people inside.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. So both you and Maria, the other Maria,
Yeah, Maria.
seem
Yeah.
to have a very good founder network. Is it like very common in
Yes,
Madrid? Everybody's a founder.
I think that you should have a great founders network, and it doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
For me, this is the my main resource to keep surviving.
Yep.
Whenever I need help, whenever it I need to drink some beers because I had a tough day,
Yep.
it is a good point or people to do some therapy because they are going to understand you. They are in the same place that you are. They know maybe other people that can help you, or they are facing, or they have faced the same challenge or whatever. So for me, it is the main resource that I have as a founder to keep going. And yeah, and every founder needs to have a great network of founder friends.
Yeah. And so how did you build yours?
I started building it with acceleration programs. It is
Hmm.
a great way
Yeah.
to know people,
Yeah.
events. If you go to tech events, to local tech events, it is very easy to know people because normally founders we are very open to know new people because we know that they are great resources to help you grow. So we are always open to know new people.
Yeah, and I think they also have the same emotional scars that you have. Like,
Yeah.
it's probably gonna be very difficult for someone who's not started a company to start understanding the
Yes,
pains.
yes, because of course I have my friends from the college,
Yep.
or the city where I live or where I grew, but they are doctors, dentists, nurses, and they are great. I love them, but they don't understand my situation. So it is very complex to talk about business with them.
Yep.
With them, I talk about other things, and they are amazing. But if I need to talk about business, about the way that we live,
Yep.
because I think that entrepreneurship, it is not something that it takes you 8 hours a day. It
Yep.
is a way of life,
Yep.
or a lifestyle.
Yep.
So, I mean, I need more people like me around me.
Yeah, I think you both have a very good network. So you said some of your founder friends actually became one of the first few customers.
Mhm.
Um, how's that journey? Like, was that like an automatic sell? Hey, I'm building this. Would you try it, or
Hmm.
did it take some convincing?
It was more talking with them about their payment challenges. Hey, are you charging in recurrent basis to your customers? Because at the end, Wells, because
Hmm.
I didn't tell you what Wells is, but
Yes.
Wells is a developer first API
Hmm.
for to automate recurring billing. So whenever you need to charge your customers in recurring basis,
Hmm.
our product is there to connect you with the payment providers and put your business rules on top of the payment provider.
Okay.
So we started asking them, hey, are you facing any challenge in this point? Are you charging your customers in recurrent basis, subscriptions, or pay per use, or whatever? And if they were, we tried to see how they were doing it in the specific moment that we have asked.
Hmm.
And some of the friends, they have solved it, and others they were doing manually because they didn't have a solution. So with those, we started testing. They were very open because at the end they were not doing anything to
Yeah.
solve it,
Yeah.
so they were doing it manually. And they knew that at some point, when especially when the volume increased, they would need to find a
Everyone.
solution. So yeah, this was the way.
And so these were free pilots that eventually converted to paying customers, or
Yeah, we started free.
yeah,
I know that it's not the proper start, but we started free because we felt that we were doing something that was very delicate and vital for our friends,
yeah,
what was charge their customers. So we didn't know if was going to work, if we had any bug in the solution. So we started doing it for free for 6 months, and after that, we started charging them. We we used to use them as design squad, we could say, because we were growing our product depending on the feedback that they were providing us.
yeah,
And because of that, we charge them the half of our pricing. And this was the way that the we started moving the
yeah.
needle and growing the product.
Yeah, no, I think pilots are pretty common. Not
Hmm.
charging, I think, is definitely something that you don't want to do. But in your case, they were friends. So I think, in a way, it was a winning combination because you could get an honest feedback because they were founder friends.
Yeah, of course.
And they
And
would be
and a
obviously,
constant feedback.
sorry,
They don't ghost you. They don't ghost you. They provide you constant feedback.
constant feedback. Yeah. And then, of course, they are obviously serious about their business. So they're not going to be polite.
Now, if we do pilots, because we sometimes do pilots with big companies, I
Mhm.
mean very big companies, we charge for pilots,
Charge for pilots.
because we don't know what is going to happen after the pilot, and we can't get the risk
Yeah.
of losing time doing something and not get paid.
Not getting
So
paid.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, can you expand a little bit on what these business rules are as examples, so that
Mhm.
listeners can actually understand a little more
But
of what the product is?
I can tell you about the problem. We work with high transactional volume companies,
Mm-hmm.
always companies which are charging their customers in recurring basis.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start, or when these companies start charging the customers, they normally decide to build these billing systems internally with their internal teams. But when you build an internal billing system, you have to take in account um, integrations with payment providers, because you can work with one payment provider, or maybe you are selling in 10 different markets and you have to work with 10 different payment providers. So
Of course.
this is one challenge. The other challenge is that you need to work with dates, sometimes hours,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Then you need to work with discounts, downgrades, upgrades, add ons.
Mm.
Then you need to work with dunnings, with retries, because sometimes payment failed.
Yeah.
Then you need to work with currencies, with taxes, and so on. So these companies end up building a whole technical team. Imagine that you are wasting your money to build a whole technical team, maybe with three, four, or five technical people
Yep.
to manage this, when your business core is not payments.
Yep.
So this is crazy.
Yeah.
And this is why this was the problem that we were facing,
That fixed me.
and this is why we decided, let's build something to this specific challenge,
Mhm.
because it is not something that is happening only to us. And yeah.
Interesting. So, how do you compete with tools that are already out there that are,
Mm.
kind of solving the problem? I don't know if Stripe is touching the layer that you are doing, but I have come
Yeah.
across a few startups, but one comes to mind is Paddle. They do also cross
Mm-hmm.
country transaction. How do you compete with, are there existing competition, and how do you compete with these?
Yeah, there are a lot of existing solutions already in the market. Some of those solutions are very big companies. For me, the main advantage or the main difference, I have two. One is the way that market is evolving, because in the 2000s, when the e-commerce boom came,
Yep.
solutions like Stripe or PayPal appeared to
Hmm.
allow e-commerces or local shops open their online shops and sell products online. So they appeared to help companies do transactions, like short term relationships with customers.
Yep.
Then in the 2010, those years between 2010 20, it came the subscription boom,
Yep.
because every company wanted to build long term relations with their
Yep.
customers. So solutions like ChargeBee, Zuora, Stripe Billing appeared. Stripe Billing is one of the 21 products inside Stripe Payments, which is dependent of Stripe Payments. So if you are using Stripe Billing, you have to use it together with Stripe Payments.
I see.
Okay, this is a point. And then in 22, 23, 2022, 2023, the pay-per-use boom came,
Yeah.
because everybody wants to build long-term but flexible relationships with the customers.
Hmm.
So you are putting another point of complexity in
Yeah,
the
business rules,
equation,
more rules. Yeah.
because now subscription is not enough. You need to build it in a flexible way. So this is a bigger technical challenge, and I think that our product is more prepared to this specific paradigm that is now in the market.
Hmm.
And other big difference is that our main competitors and the solutions that are now entering the market
Hmm.
are platforms that they do, or they try to bring solution for the end to end. And for me, it is okay, the end to end, but what we see in our customers
Hmm.
is that they have very specific challenge,
Hmm.
and it is always technical,
Hmm.
and it is always regarding billing. It is always regarding the automation process on top of the payment provider. So we have decided to do something very specific for this part of all the process, and focus on developers instead of providing the company a big
Yeah.
platform, and then you can choose what to use, because at the end you are doing everything but you are not expert in nothing.
Yeah. So you
And
don't
this
want
is
to.
the way that we're, yeah, go.
So you instead of building the whole slice, you want to focus on a layer and do it really really well.
Yeah, yeah, and do it very in a very specific way.
Yeah.
This is a very specific challenge what we are solving. Sometimes some of people that is providing us feedback told us, but this is small, your solution is small. No, we can grow our solution from that point. But this is the main painful point for our customers. So we need to start from them, from there,
Yeah.
and then let's see what
See.
else we need to build. But not end to end because we see that the process is always this way. Because in big companies, for example, these processes are always alive. They are charging currently to their customers. So if you need to go there in order to provide them something new and better,
Yeah.
you
I mean,
can't go with a whole, I
yeah,
don't know, monster.
yeah. There's no shortage of building features. I mean, any you put any product manager behind a product or a idea, they'll be able to add 15 new features. It's very easy to add features to a
Yeah, it
product. So
is
it's
very easy. And it
it,
is very easy to copy
yeah, it's
to
very easy
those
to
big
copy
competitors.
the competitors.
And it doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make
I
any
mean, we
sense.
know some of the things, we are doing those things, and then let's see.
You also mentioned that we are looking at customers that have high transaction volume.
Hmm.
So how was the journey to figuring out
Mm,
the ideal customer profile ICP
yeah.
for moving?
Um, you can imagine that at the beginning we started with companies with no big volume,
Yeah.
uh, founders around us that they were at this point implementing tools to automatize payments and so on. So at the beginning we started with small companies, but when you don't have when you have a big problem with when you have big volume,
Yeah.
because it is something that you can't handle. By when you have a small volume, maybe you can see that in the future you will have a problem, but it is not something that you want to
Right now.
solve it now.
Yeah.
And for us as a small startup that needs to keep evolving every single day to work with these customers with not an intense pain, it is to waste time. And it was very easy for us to see. So we decided to start talking with bigger customers.
Hmm.
Of course, when you go to bigger customers, challenges are different
Yeah.
because they will be expecting better products.
Mm-hmm.
They will take more time to take the decision, but the problem is so intense.
Yeah.
So when the problem is so intense,
Mm-hmm.
you can shorten the time to start working with them. So this was the way that we did it. At the beginning, small,
Mm-hmm.
we could be iterating on top of small customers and try to go to the bigger customers like step by step, but trying to do it fast.
So you
Um,
identified a pain and you validated that the pain is definitely a pain. And then the next logical move was to identify companies that have the same pain but with a much higher intensity.
that's it. Yes, yes. Because if you don't have an intense pain, you're not going to try a new solution.
Yeah,
It is like,
of course. Yeah.
nah.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
It started this way. And then the other thing was that in the interviews that we had with customers, once we did the first interview, because normally we do two.
Mm-hmm.
Once we did the first interview, the second one was always with technical people.
Mm.
So what we realized is, okay, this founder, it's gonna be our customer, but the technical people, they are going to be our users.
Yeah.
So we should build something for the technical people. It doesn't matter the founder because the technical one is going to be the one validating if they can use us or not.
Yeah.
So
And
and
so
it was all.
did you run into companies where you got blocked at the first gate itself? The founder is like, no, this is not a problem for us.
Yes, yes, it happens sometimes because sometimes it's the founder in small companies. Sometimes or most of the times is the founder who is facing the problem because maybe the founder can't report or they don't know who is paying, who is not paying. because in small companies, founder is a big operator,
Yep, a big
and
operator.
if they can see the data, they will be facing the problem, and they will go to the technical people to tell, hey, I need to report it clean and accurate. So what is happening? And the technical one is going to be the one trying to find a solution. In bigger companies, normally it is the product or the technical team, some head of tech or tech lead or head of product,
Hmm.
who is going to come to us in order to see, check, and test the solution. Sometimes, but this is not that obvious, is the financial people, but it is not that like, I don't know how to say this word in English, but it is not that normal.
Yeah.
Normally, founders or technical people.
How many interviews did you have to do to figure out that, okay, now I can move from, companies that are small to this high intensity segment, and we have a
Uh,
product?
mm, it is not only interviews, but what we do with the small customers is, once they are active, I mean, we do first interview, what we call internally the risk assessment,
Hmm.
and we try to know the customer's use case to see if we can provide the solution in the moment or not.
Hmm.
If it's no,
Hmm.
we tell very very directly to the customer, we can't work with you. And if it's yes,
Hmm.
we tell, we are going to work with you in this way, A, B, C, D. So we put a roadmap together with the customer, and they normally are live in 3 or 4 weeks. And after that, we set a call every 2 weeks. We know that this is not scalable,
Yeah.
but we set a call every 2 weeks because we need to check if everything is working in the way that we need it to work and
Uh-huh.
the customers need it to work, and to check if they have any feedback that can help us to keep going and growing and providing them more value. So we set 2 week a call every 2 week.
Hmm.
Maybe when we had a crazy volume of customers, we can't do it and we will need to implement some tool to keep doing it.
Hmm.
But at the moment, this is the way that we work, and it is great because we see things very, very fast and we can iterate very, very fast. And with bigger customers, for example, we are working now with a very big corporation in Spain.
Hmm.
We do it every single week. I mean,
Every single week.
every single week. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, early on, especially when you're trying to establish yourself, yeah, you have to put in
Mm.
the time. And so, beyond those initial pilots that you mentioned, where you had
Mhm.
founder friends who then later converted to paying customers, outside your founder network, how did you get the
Mhm.
first customer?
It came because of referrals from our founder friends, mainly.
Hmm.
And some of nowadays, after 2 years,
Hmm.
we are getting always small inbound. We had built a lot of content to position our company as an industry leading company, and we are now getting the results of this SEO work that we've been doing for 2 years. So yeah, and we are getting companies to the pipeline. So yeah, those are the main ways, and those were the main ways, because nowadays our main growth channel is partnerships.
Partnerships.
Yeah, we try whenever we need to acquire small customers, or if we are going to provide the product to a small customers, we try to do it from a third party partner channel,
Hmm.
because it is the most efficient channel, and the one who is working for us the best. And if we are selling to a big corporation, we do it by a sales representative, that it's me in this moment.
Hmm.
So it is a founders led growth,
On the
a
list.
pure founders led growth.
Hmm.
Yeah, and this is the way that we are acquiring now customers. But partnerships for us is a river.
And so, yeah, absolutely, if you can, if you can hone in on a channel, or a channel partner, and you can serve them well, they do the selling for you, right? There's an incentive
Yes.
for them, there's an incentive for you. It's like an extended sales team. So how did you identify these channels or a channel?
I mean, there are the obvious channels that we can see. There are a lot of complementary products to ours that they have marketplaces. So
Hmm.
we can integrate our product in their marketplaces. It is good, but for me, they are not crazy opportunities to grow because you are competing at the end with more solutions like yours or that can provide at some point the same value as you are providing. So those can work, but for me, they are not the best. The best channels are those where you can be the only one doing this specific thing. So, what we look for? We look for uh, mainly payment providers
Mm.
because the only payment provider that we have identified with an internal billing product is Stripe.
Hmm.
The rest of the payment providers in the world, they don't have a specific billing product to offer their customers. So this is the main reason why we are now prioritizing to talk with payment providers because we can be this billing automation product for them. And at the end, anybody is going to see us because we are working in the backends.
Yeah.
So the flow, the user journey can be very clean for the payment provider. Yeah, and this is our main goal now to be able to integrate our product on top of all these payment providers
Hmm.
to use them as sales channels.
So in summary, identifying channels where these payment providers are already selling and going to those channels and becoming a channel, making them a channel partner, building a channel partner relationship with those channels.
Yes, that's it. And then we also have other partners. One is another gold river for us, which are big corporations. For example, we are now working with a very big telco corporation
Hmm.
in Spain.
Hmm.
Of course, their core product is phone services, internet services, television services, but they are also selling other products to their customers because they have thousands of customers,
Hmm.
and and a lot of those companies are selling technology.
Hmm.
So we are another product inside their product, not e-commerce, but their product offer
Hmm.
that they are offering to their customers. And in this case, we are the only billing automation product in their portfolio. So it is also a great way for us to grow because their sales representatives are selling us because they can do business on top of us. So yeah, it is interesting for both of the parties.
You've sold a lot through channels, through founder-led sales. Have you explored, all the rage these days is PLG? Have you
Mhm.
explored product-led growth, and
Yes.
what are your views there?
Yes, of course, because we are product freaks in the company. Myself, I am a product person. In our case, in this moment, it is complex because I mean we could open the product and they we could open the product to put in a test layer
Hmm.
before they can go live,
Hmm.
but we tried, and what came us, it was a lot of fraud. I mean, it was a way that we were simplifying the fraud to fraudulent people.
Hmm.
So it was risky for us, not for us because at the end we don't do payments. We
Yeah,
are not doing the
the
processes,
actual process.
but it was for the payment providers. So we figured that out, and we are not. It is not mandatory for a product like ours to do the KYC process,
Hmm.
and it is something that it puts a lot of friction whenever you are growing in product-led growth motions
Yeah,
to your customers because you are asking for everything but you don't have provided
the
something
service.
valuable before. So it is very, I mean, we had a big friction, and if we cut the friction, we had a lot of fraud. So it's been very complex. We can take some of our call processes out and do it more efficient and more automatic, but not in the first part of acquisition and activation because it's very risky in this moment. Maybe in the future we can find a way that that these fraudulent people is not going to come us to, because they are seeing that they can do fraud with a product like ours,
Mhm.
and I don't see that obvious, but you never know. So I mean, they were not doing fraud because they have walls,
Yeah,
but they were coming and they were wasting us a lot of resources, time, effort, and so we decided to
put an
uh,
end to it, or
yeah.
slow it down, I guess.
And
Yeah.
then you can do product-led growth maybe in the last part of your funnel. In a case like ours, if you and we have a loop at the end in our checkout. Once the person paying or the company who is paying from our checkout,
Hmm.
at the end of the process, we ask them, did you like your paying experience? You can create an account in Wells. So we invited them to create an account, they can register themselves, and then they can book a call. So this is a little bit of a product-led growth motion in the acquisition part. And it's something that is working because the most of the people who is paying from our checkout are companies. So it is something that it works, but I mean, it is not exponential at this point.
Yeah, I think in your case, because you're such a B2B product, that too a product that is ultimately consumed by the technical team, with some incentives for the business heads to use it because of the reporting needs. To
Mm-hmm.
implement a PLG motion, you probably would need to first solve the some sort of thin reporting problem for the business
Mm-hmm.
users, so
Yeah.
that they can come and drop their reports or data dump and maybe create some reports out of it. Kind of like a lead
Yeah.
magnet, probably not
Yeah.
a
This is
PLG.
interesting. Yeah, like we can provide it for free and they can play, and if they like it. We tried another one that it was that we allow them to build an invoice,
Yeah,
and if they wanted to put a link to ask their customers to pay it online,
yeah.
they needed to create an account, and it worked. Also, it worked, and now I think that it is still alive, but we are not using it that much because we were acquiring small customers in
But the pain
this
intensity was
experiment.
not, probably the ICP was off.
Yes, because the people who was coming from this loop
Yeah.
were like freelancers and
Yeah.
this type of people.
You did an interesting pivot. You were in a completely different space. You pivoted to this whole new space. Did you bring in the investors from the last venture to this venture? How did the investors take it?
Yes, we did it. We thought that it was the most honest way of doing it.
Hmm.
At the end, we figured the Wells challenge out because those investors invested in us at the beginning with the other venture. But we thought that it was honest from our part. We brought them to the new company. I mean, legally it wasn't a new company,
Yeah, technically, yeah.
so they were there.
Yeah.
Then when we raised the 1 million,
Hmm.
some of the smallest ones, they went out. I mean, they sold their positions and they went out,
Hmm.
winning, of course,
Hmm.
and for them was like great, a
Yeah.
great deal.
Yeah.
And the and only two of them stayed, that they were the ones with more participation, with more shares. And at this moment, one of them, it is providing us a lot of value because they are product experts, they are data experts, they are based in the US.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they are very nice partners, and they understood what we were doing. They've been supporting us from the day one,
Hmm.
and they are still supporting us. So yeah, for me, we did well.
Yeah, it's good to have if early investors who can add value, nothing like
Hmm.
it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
the
so,
money, it is
yeah,
not the only thing that you
money,
need from investors.
money. Well, yeah. I mean, if you can find an investor, so lucky, lucky for you.
Yeah. If you can find them,
Most
yes.
people say they'll add value, but they, on top of the money, you hardly get anything.
Yeah.
The investor is based in the US. I think a lot of European startups expand. The gradual path is, get
Mhm.
to sort of Series A-ish and then think about moving to the US. What are your expansion plans? So with this business, how many countries are you currently operating in, and what are the expansion plans
Mm.
looking like?
We're mainly in Spain.
Hmm.
Now we are entering LATAM.
Hmm.
For us is the target market,
Hmm.
not every country in Latin America,
Hmm.
but we want to go to Latin America because we know the market.
Hmm.
We've been doing Latin America with FixMe,
Yep.
and we know how big is the fintech challenge in Latin America and how big is the opportunity there. So for us, it is a main target.
Hmm.
And nowadays, we are mainly in Spain and starting to operate in Latin America
Hmm.
through partner channels. Of course, in the future, we would like to enter the US market because it's super mature,
Hmm.
but it is not a priority because we need to be more competitive
Yep.
and have a lot of money in our bank account in order to grow in the US market because we know how it works.
Yeah.
But it is great that we have nowadays an investor who knows the US market and it's there to remind us that, hey, this is not easy.
Yeah.
Maybe you can test better other markets before coming here.
Hmm.
And this is the way that we are working. Europe, it is interesting, but we have a lot of competitors in
Hmm.
Europe and in the US market. So I think that it makes more sense, Spain and Latam for us.
And then gradually expand.
Yeah, and then Asia, Africa, and so on, super interesting markets, very big, but I don't know, me myself, I don't know anything about those markets. So if we test or think of that we can grow through these markets, we will need to bring people that knows those markets because we don't know anything. So it is not a priority. Of course, we would love to go global,
Yep.
global, 100%, but it is not the moment to do it.
Yeah. Well, who knows? At some point, you might find a channel partner because of your
Yeah,
inbound
of
efforts.
course.
Yeah.
I will love it because Asia, I think that it's huge. And the challenge in fintech, especially in emerging market, it is very similar to the Latin America challenge. So yeah, both are great opportunities.
Yeah. Culturally, yeah, there are a lot of similarities for sure. Yeah.
Hmm.
And are you hiring?
Not in this moment.
Mm.
They are enough for now. We've been a little bit conservative in the hiring processes or the amount of people that we hire
Hmm.
because of the market situation.
Hmm.
I think that now we've been efficient in the way that we are growing and to to I don't know, double the team, for example, I need to feel that we are getting this product market fit
Hmm.
that I'm expecting to get this year.
Hmm.
So for us in Wells, this year is going to be the year to prove that we can get this product market fit. And if we get, it's going to be the moment to invest in new people because we will need to open new sales channels. We will need, of course, to go maybe faster in the product part and so on. But now it is the moment to prove product market fit. If we get crazy hiring now,
Yeah.
even we have the money, we will die. And that's
Yeah.
for
That's not
me
a good sign.
the thing. Because not because you have the double of the people you are going to go faster.
Yeah. Hmm.
This is not like it doesn't work like that.
Of course.
Yeah.
So we are going to graduate to simpler questions. One book you would recommend to all founders?
I have two.
Oh, two. Interesting.
Two.
Yep.
One is venture deals.
Venture deals.
Yes. I think that every founder that is gonna face a fundraising channel needs to read this book.
Mm.
Maybe not once, two, twice, or three times, because you will feel that you can play the same game as your investor. You can be talking with the investor at the same level with this book, and you are going to be able to understand your investor's side that for me is very important whenever you need to keep dealing with them. Otherwise, it is very difficult that maybe you will be blocked, and maybe they are going not to take you serious because you don't understand the game that they are playing. So for me, this is one. And the other one, it is a radical candor,
Mm.
to be able to have complex talks or meetings with your team.
Yeah.
Whenever you need to talk about something that is complex, I think that this book can help you. And it helped me a lot. I
Mm.
was going to say us because also my co-founder has a lot of tools from Radical Candor. It helped me to create, I think, more closed relations with my teammates and to have more clear talks with them that it's uh, necessary in a company. So both of the books are a
I've,
must
I've
reads.
not read both actually, but I've come across Radical Candor in blogs
Mhm.
and articles, but I haven't personally read it. Yeah, thanks for the recommendation. So right now, I mean, you've been for almost what, 8 years, seven
Mhm.
years.
Yes, yes.
What are the three biggest pains as a founder, either in the overall journey or right now?
One of the main ones for me is to let people go.
Mm.
I mean, people can go because they want to get better experiences or they want to keep growing and they don't identify your company as a place where they can grow.
Yeah.
And but it can happen because you need to let people go because you need to decrease your costs and so on. So for me, emotionally, it is something very complex to handle. It is a big challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super emotional,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to put your rational part of your personality to be able to face these challenges. Otherwise, you will, I don't know, maybe go to sleep and and stay there forever. This is the main one. The other one, I think that you should take care of yourself because as founders we are maybe the ones who pushes more to keep our business going, sometimes for, I don't know, 24 hours, but you have to take in account that maybe you have a family,
Yep.
a partner, kids, whatever that, and you need to take care of yourself and the people which is around you. For myself, for example, I always train in the morning. I go to the CrossFit
Mm.
because it is something that helps me to balance my energy.
Yep.
I'm super intense, and this way I can balance better my energy, and I'm more tired at night. So I don't stay working for hours and I use maybe that end of the day time to stay with my partner and have quality time with my family. That is something that is very necessary.
Yep.
Sometimes we don't prioritize it and later we felt the consequences, no?
Yep.
So for me this is another thing. And the third one is that you need the best technical team. The best technical team. And this is something mandatory
Mm.
in a startup. You are building software, and you need like smart people making a smart decision, especially if you are as a founder, you are not an engineer.
Yeah.
Because me, I'm technical, I'm a product person, but I'm not an engineer. So I mean, you should be able to build like a super talented technical team. And for me, this is mandatory. If I was an investor, I will always check who is here behind the tech.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, you would be a good VC. So for the first challenge, which is letting people go, how do you deal with that? Like right now, how do you solve for that?
Radical candor first. I mean, I try to be super rational.
Mm.
So I check the money, I check the resources, I check the runway, and I check. I mean, you can let someone go because it's not being efficient, it's not doing what you expected that these people should be doing,
Mhm.
or because you need to cut. When you need to cut is the toughest,
Yeah.
because these people, I mean, you feel that you need them, but you can't.
Yeah.
So what I do is I try to help them to find new opportunities, because I feel better this way.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it's an emotional process that you need to handle. It is always an emotional process, because you are changing a current relationship that you have with a person
Yeah.
to a thing that you don't know. Maybe it could be in the future good or not, because you don't know how they are going to feel it. So
Yeah.
I try to help them to find another opportunity in a different company. When I need to fire someone because of the performance, it is easier, but I do it with my rational part of the brain, and also my co-founder, that she's super rational, and we still try to help these people. Maybe this is not the place that you are going to grow, but maybe we can find an opportunity in another company. We can help you, because maybe your profile fits with a need in another company that we know, and we help. If it's something with the behavior and so on, we don't help. I mean, we are honest and go. But this is the easiest.
Yeah.
This is the easiest.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Here, there is also another big challenge that maybe is the biggest one.
Hmm.
That is the way that you tell the rest of the team about this. Because if it's because of you need to cut costs,
Hmm.
they are going to feel scared.
Yeah, they're
I
gonna feel
mean,
scared.
these people are now out, and I can be the next one.
Yep.
So you have to be able to be super honest with the people, no? And we here put our value, that is our core value in Wells, that is the radical transparency that we learned from the book,
Hmm.
because you should be honest with your people, and they need to know constantly and in real time the company's situation.
How
If
you're
it's good,
doing, how well you're doing,
if it's
how
bad.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and if they are scared and they want to go, it is
Yeah.
okay.
It's
I
okay.
mean, they are persons, and they go because they are not feeling that they can face this challenge. So
Yeah.
they go, and the people staying is the one that you need to push it and to keep going.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Easier said than done, though. When you have a critical person who's a point of failure leaving because their outlook towards the company has changed, it's a tough cookie
Yeah,
to crack. But the
this is
right thing to do
super
for
tough.
sure. But the right thing to do for sure.
Yeah, it is very tough, because they feel desmotivated, and
Yeah.
I mean,
And then you have to figure out who's gonna lift those
yeah.
items and who's gonna fill those heavy shoes because they are the point of failure, right? So
Yes, that's true.
Maria from Sharpe, I interviewed her very recently. Um, Both of you strong female founders out of Spain. How difficult has it been to navigate the journey, and I'm sure you're helping each other, but how difficult has been the journey so far?
I think that as female founders, we always have a bigger challenge
Hmm.
than male. Um, but I think that it's cultural. I don't think that it's because we are female, and that's it. No, I think that it's something cultural.
Hmm.
It is not a problem only in tech. I think that it's a social problem or a social challenge.
Hmm.
And the point here is that to make people trust you, I think that it's tougher. um, I'm going to tell you about a story that happened to me.
Hmm.
I was with some of my male founder friends talking to an investor after a conference. We've been talking, we've been drinking beers.
Hmm.
I felt that I was connecting very good with him.
Yep.
And after the event, I realized that he invited the male founders to a football match in the Real Madrid stadium in the Bernabeu, and not
Wow.
me, because I'm a woman. And it is weird, because I used to play football,
Yep. You are
and
a
he
national level
didn't know
football
that.
player.
So, and one of my founder friends, he told me, like, it was weird, Mary, because you should be there,
And he
and he
he knew
didn't
that you were
invite you.
a national level football player.
No, he didn't. But
Okay,
I
but
mean,
still,
he
yeah,
was inviting everybody,
yeah,
and we were like in the same situation, and in the same mood. Why he didn't invite me? And it is a blocker, because in these places, in these like petit comité events, a lot of business things happen, and we are losing those opportunities. And this is an anecdote, but I mean, I have a lot of stories like that. And it sounds maybe stupid, but we faced those things every single day. And we need, at the end, to build a company. It is something that is based in relations, in persons. And we need to be able to have the same opportunities as male founders. So, I mean, I think that we are in a disadvantage. Even we are super strong, we are very focused, and we will keep going. We need to have the same opportunities. Yeah.
Men and women have to work together to kind of combat
Mm,
this. I meet a
yeah.
lot of female founders, and it's great to see the number of female founders that are out there. I'm later interviewing another CEO from Sweden. She also spoke about this and how involved she is with the women in tech
Mhm.
community. How's the women in tech community there in Madrid?
I think it's growing. I think no, it is growing. I always see more female founders, but still we need to be working actively on it. For example, in our team, we try to prioritize women profiles in tech. It is not always possible, but we try because we want to make tech employees more visible.
Hmm.
We want those persons to take the decisions, and to bring more women's, or be, or at the end, that they could be in the future a referent to the kids that they wanted to study, for example, engineering, right? So I mean, we want to build more female reference in the tech ecosystem, and it is on our hands. I think it is in both hands, but I think that it's a lot in the female founders' hands.
Of course.
We are very aware of that challenge.
If I remember our last conversation, you did mention that you guys actively stress on hiring in all your roles, hiring female first. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
We try to prioritize. It is not always possible,
of course.
but from 14 that we are right now, 9 are female. So we are very happy that I feel that our team is has a great balance.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, it's nice if you can crack that balance, and especially I think if you do want to do that, you have to take a stand. Like you said, you have to understand the problem and address it head on instead of just talking about it. So I'm
Yeah,
glad to
yeah.
see that you're actively pushing for it in your hiring, and the
Hmm.
results are there. 9 out of 14 is a
Yeah.
great ratio. Yeah.
I mean, diversity or the inclusion is one of our main values.
Hmm.
Not only with female profiles, that it is the maybe our main priority,
Hmm.
but also with different ethnicities and so on. So yeah, we wanted to build a global team, and at the end, those are the things that we need to take in account to keep growing.
Yeah. Well, I wish you all the best for the growth and the future, and I think Uelzpay is in great hands. Thank you so much for taking the time and being on the podcast. It was great to have you here.
Thank you very much for inviting me, for your trust that I was going to tell you something interesting. So
No, it
thanks a
was
lot, and the best of luck also in the growth of the podcast. And it's been a pleasure to be here today.
If you found this valuable, you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. See you in the next episode.